Hello everyone, this is Aida Domisiewicz. Welcome to our Touching the Soul YouTube hub. Today I will be making a mixed media layout, using mostly 13 Arts products. To start with, you need some papers. I have chosen few papers from Victoriana and Unforgettable collection, as well as some transparency matching the collection. My first layer is a base paper, and then I'm adding a second paper which I have shredded before, and then I'm making few layers out of them. Because we want to work with mediums later, I need to prime my base. So I'm putting 13 Arts clear gesso on top, just to make sure my paper won't be wet or won't be destroyed while I'm putting some mediums. Make sure you dry your paper before adding more layers on top. I want to prepare some embellishments and elements I will be using on my layout. So I have prepared some chipboards from different collections from 13 Arts. I have chosen some wings, some gears, and a doily, and few words matching my main title, Touching the Soul. I have chosen to make a layout about how art is impacting my soul, how art is important. So my title will be Art, My Soul. So that's why I have chosen those chipboards. Next step is to prepare some paste which I will be using with the stencil to make my texture on my paper. So I have put some modeling paste, gel medium and mica paste on my craft mat, and then I have colored my gel with Color Glow Fire Opal. So before you start putting your stencil, you can stamp. It doesn't matter, it's just a background, so you don't need to worry about being very precise, because at the end, when we finish our process, you will only see tiny bits and pieces of this stamping background. So I'm just doing it to make some contrast and some interest, additional interest on my background. Time we can use our prepared pastes with a stencil. I have chosen a stencil with the wings and ornament. You can mix your pastes together, or you can choose different shades you are using. So as you can see, I'm using mostly darker shades on my white paper and lighter colors on the darker side. So you can play with all the colors, mix them together to create a nice, interesting background with a stencil. When your project is completely dry, you can start to stick some elements. First, I have chosen my wings, my big wings from the acetate, and some chipboards and the photograph. I stick everything with gel medium. Gel medium dries quite a long time. It dries transparent, so don't worry if you can see a little bit gel medium here and there, because at the end you will not see it at all. And gel medium also is great for textures, so to make additional texture you can also use this medium. So as you can see, I'm sticking everything with gel medium. I will be sticking some flowers, some chipboards, some fabrics, everything to make my photograph look good, because on the layout the photograph is the main point, is the focus point of the composition. So everything I'm sticking around my photograph to make it look better. This particular layout I have prepared for this YouTube hop, and the title of the hop is Touching the Soul. So my title and the whole layout and the message I wanted to give is that art is very important in my life, that is a big part of my life, and it's a part of my soul. It's touching my soul as well. So that's why I have chosen this title, and I have chosen this element and this color, that this is really making me free, because that's why I've chosen the wings, and it really makes me happy. So that's why these colors, these elements. So when you create, you just have to think what message you want to give, or what story you want to tell. So every time I try to choose the elements matching my photograph, matching the story I want to show. As I said before, gel medium is also a great medium for texture. So you can create some extra texture with your palette knife or with a spatula. Here I'm creating some texture, but I'm also preparing my background for the glitters and for microbeads. If you were following my art, you know that microbeads are always there at some level. Here I'm only using a tiny black microbeads and two types of glitter to add some texture. So first is big black glitter, and second is white flakes. You can also add some gel medium on top of your flowers, on top of your other embellishments if you want to make it more shiny, and you can add some extra beads in all the areas you feel like texture will look good. So at this point I'm sticking my title, which I have prepared earlier, and everything I'm sticking with gel medium again, so I can still think where is the best place to put my title, and you can move it, you can remove it. So gel medium is a really great medium. So at the end, when I'm quite happy with all the composition, I can add some extra elements. I have added a acetate element, a crown, to my cluster of flowers, and I was also missing some white texture, some contrast. So I found this old peacock feather, and I have received it from my neighbor a long time ago. And actually, here some pieces of it they look great as a part of the composition, and they're adding some dimension and some lightness to this composition. So I like this effect here, so that's why I have chosen this peacock feather. And at the end, when everything is dry, you can add some extra coloring. It's not a necessary step, but I almost always add some coloring around the photograph, just to add some shades, some extra color sometimes. This time I'm sticking to my color palette, so I'm only using the black watercolor, and some red, just a tiny bit here and there. I'm using 13 Arts watercolors, so we've got a big palette and two smaller palettes, but I have put all my pens into this metal cassette, so it's more convenient. I have every color together, and it's really nice and convenient to work with. So just a touch of red here and there, and we are almost done. After your project is completely dry, the best way is just to leave it overnight. So the next day you can use some dry brushing technique. I'm using white gesso here, it's very thick, to make some highlights, to make your texture more visible. And you can also blend colors with this technique. You can also lighten up your background. So work as long as you're happy with the result. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you have enjoyed my tutorial. Thank you for joining our Touching the Soul YouTube hub. See you next time. Bye bye.